Welcome back to Bookshelf of Opinions. I'm Hannah,
And I'm Elizabeth.
and this is episode 24 of
Wow,
season 2.
you have the numbers.
I have the
High
number.
five.
I'm so proud of myself. It's only because I made the graphic for it at episode 23 on Friday. So I tried to remember.
It's also our Fearless episode, which we'll get into later.
Fearless.
Hannah, what have you been listening to?
I have been listening to a very specific playlist that Spotify made for me called Main Character Mix. And let me tell you, she is sweet. Specifically, it unlocked my lost obsession. Like, we found her again, of Pierre by Ryan Weaver.
Yes.
And Talk Too Much by Coin.
I love Coin.
So it re-unlocked because those were both on it, and they started playing, and I was like, wait, I feel just like, and then nostalgia, and then it just like kept going. I was like, it was while I was baking too, so I was just jumping around the kitchen, and it was just perfection. So yeah, what have you been listening to?
Okay, so I've been listening to. Okay, so this will go with my reading, which I'll get into in a moment, but a specific book playlist. And so I've been listening to specifically one song in that playlist, which is called "I Just Killed a Man." But it's not like literally. It's like, like she broke up with him, and she's like, I could see the life draining from his eyes. Like, it's actually the saddest song. And like it was like no cops are being called because there's no body to collect, but like the man is like begging her not to leave, and it was like I'm not in that stage of like I'm not like in that stage
of I hate men.
No, I'm like for some reason the song can't get out of my head.
No, but that's okay.
And then also where is it? She's acting single, I'm drinking double. Again, not where I am in life.
The themes are theming.
But because of this book playlist I've been listening to, it makes sense, which we'll get into when we talk about what we're reading. So Hannah, what have you been reading?
I have been reading Where Sleeping Girls Lie by will not be pronouncing that name.
No, you will not. Do you love it?
I love it.
Who do you love in it?
A little bit of everyone so far. Okay.
Yeah.
Baz, I'm a fan of.
Best freaking friend.
August. Sketch, but a fan.
I'm just gonna say August. August is just kind of. I'm here for August. I can't say anything.
I have some things make me feel like Pretty Little Liars.
But also like inheritance games.
It's just where I'm at now. She just had coffee with Jude and August.
Okay, thoughts on Jude? I don't trust him.
No, but also I trust him more than I trust August.
Interesting.
In regards to the actual plot.
The plot? Okay.
In life, would I trust this dude? Not as far as I could throw him. But in the grand scheme of what is happening, I feel like he's just there.
It's just there. Cool. I opened the book and I was like, oh my gosh, the girl's name is Elizabeth. It's fantastic. And I was like, oh, Elizabeth.
I also feel bad that the main girl's name is Shade. Every time I read it, though, I'm like, Sadie. Because that's how I'm like, my brain immediately was reading it until it got pronounced in the book. And I was like, oh, I done been reading this wrong.
I appreciate that they were like, oh no, this is how you pronounce it.
Yes, I did too, though, because the whole time I was like, Sadie.
Shade. I just read it as like Shade in my brain because I was like, oh, because of the author, like her culture, because I read her beforehand, like, oh, she writes these type of books with these type of characters. So I was like, oh, so this is her representation. And I was like, I'm assuming that's how you read it.
I did not at all. Because also every other name was so easy and like straightforward.
Yeah, you literally have Elizabeth, August, Jude, Persephone,
April.
Yeah.
Like every name easy.
It's like you literally have it all. It's like,
and
okay.
then you got Shade. So anyways, that's what I've been reading. What have you been reading?
Nice. Okay, so I read the last book of the Rebel Blue Ranch series, which is by Lila Sage. So the last book was Wild and Wrangled. And guys, I'm gonna go on a little tangent here. What I'm currently reading is called The River Runs South, and it's kind of like, you know the movie When Hope Floats with Sandra Bullock, and like she finds out her husband's cheating on her, so she moves back to Nashville and everything?
No.
Okay, well, it's a great little romance, and then it's kind of a mix of that with Sweet Home Alabama, which my sister loves that movie and everything, and I love it. And it's like her husband dies, so she moves back to Alabama to like find herself. And I'm kind of giving Practical Magic. So that's kind of the plot of Practical Magic too, but without the magic.
Okay, cute.
Anyways, but what I read before that was Wild and Wrinkled. And here's my little rant, okay? Because the first book, Done and Dusted, I loved. I loved it so much, okay? So I was like, okay, obviously the next one, Swift and Saddled, I liked it. It didn't hold up the same as Done and Dusted, but I was like, it's okay.
I just realized they're all alliterations. Sorry.
But I was like, but it's okay, like,
Right,
you
it's an
know.
alliteration.
No, it is alliteration.
Okay, sorry.
Because an and is an article adjective, so it kind of fits with it.
I was making sure that was the right word.
Yeah.
I was thinking. Anyways, so sorry.
And no, you're fine. And I was like, okay, Swift and Saddled's so cool, just not my favorite like trope, okay? And then Lost and Lassoed, it didn't do it for me, and I was really disappointed because like everyone's hyping up Lost and Lassoed. So then when Wild and Wrangled was gonna come out, I was kind of like, I do realize these are all very funny names for titles. These are very short books. I was kind of like, oh, it's not gonna be good because Done and Dusted was so good at such high expectations. I'm overanalyzing these cowboy romances, but I do not care. And then I was like, but I still are like I am committed to the series. I love the author, you know. Wild and Wrangled, freaking 10 out of 10. To the same level that Done and Dusted are. Like the bookends just really closed off the whole plot, second chance, romance, like high school love. The dude has tattoos. Like I was just like, wow, this is freaking amazing. It was so good that I literally like cried at the end.
Oh.
And I appreciate because there's no like major third arc breakup. Like it's very like, oh, like just romance, but so good because he never stopped loving her. You know, that whole trope. And then like there was a bonus chapter at the acknowledgement, and it was a chapter from the POV of the main character from the first book, and it was like closing it all up, and she was like actually getting married now and going through every character, and I was like, wow, what a way to like close off this chapter. Anyways, this is way too deep to be thinking about a little silly romance book, but it was really good, and I was very satisfied. But yes, but I did finish Fearless before that, as you did as well.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forget to finish Fearless.
And so, but the reason we held off on saying that is because we're now going to our deep dive of Fearless. So if you have not listened to this, have you not read Fearless?
Stop.
You've had about 2 weeks to process, so you're kind of in the clear. If you've never read any of the Powerless series, okay, proceed with
caution if you ever want to read them. But like if you're actively reading Fearless or want to read any of these books, just stop listening.
Yeah, we as much as we would love the views and support, like
we don't want you to ruin
care
it for yourself.
Yeah.
So this is your spoiler
because
warning.
We got a lot to talk about. And 95% chance I'm gonna cry. So
I don't think I'm gonna cry.
Oh, okay.
Well,
okay.
I don't know. I feel the tears are like already sitting there, but I don't think they're actually gonna spill.
I've like cried at least almost every day thinking about different parts of the book.
I think I've just I do what I normally do when I feel sad about things. I block it out and just forget about it completely. So if I have memory lapses when it comes to the book, just disregard.
And this is where me and you meet in the middle. Because we both have our copies with us.
This is where coping mechanisms
align.
We will fill in the gaps. And so...
But yeah, for those watching, Fearless, these are my tabs. You can't really see them.
She actually tabbed. I just tabbed before this episode so I knew what points we were going to talk about because I wanted it to be clean, as if I don't have another copy of it.
I know. I went through 4 highlighters in this book.
Grr. I kind of want to go back and highlight, but at the same time, I'm like, I love it being just like clean.
Page is highlighted. So much is highlighted. Anyways,
I'm so proud.
Okay.
All right. Our Fearless breakdown. So we're going to start easy. I feel, well, not easy, but easy. Up until the, okay. Opening, up until the, so we'll say up until, sorry, I keep saying that as if I can't work.
Up until.
Okay, no, okay. Yeah, up until.
So
we will begin prior to the first
Edric what page
POV.
Is that?
So 80. So page 1 through 80.
1 through 80. Okay, cool. First tab. What did I tab? Wow, page 3. Okay.
Yeah. What was happening for you on page 3? I need to flip back to that actually. This. I don't know what's happening.
Okay.
Anymore. Oh, yeah. Okay, actually, did we ever figure out who the prologue is about?
I was about to say. Actually, no, I think I know what this is. I think I know what this is. Is
Oh my
this
gosh,
not
is that not when they're passing off Peyton? Wait. Sorry. No,
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 this is
that's when
this
the
is
Mac is gonna.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Sorry.
Okay, like, sorry, I forgot about the prologue because I think I was so
I
confused
did forget about the
that I
prologue
was like,
also.
I'm not gonna address it.
I truly forgot there was a prologue until you said page 3, and I was like, oh, where's page 3?
So, what do you think the prologue is?
So I, reading the very first page, I was like, oh, duh, this is when Peyton is being handed off. I don't know why I'm trying to say it vague as if we're not going to dive into it
Yeah.
later. But that's 100% is when Mac is coming to Callum, coming to Kit,
Yeah.
whoever we want to say approached
Mhm.
to fight Peyton
Yeah.
in the third trial.
Yeah.
Like literally when he says every brutal act is born of love.
And it was like,
One, we're
make me believe you.
like targeting the third B brutality,
Mhm.
and then he loved his Dina.
God. Okay. Already off to a great
So
start. Yeah. So that I think that's all I want to talk about for the prologue
yeah,
because
so
okay, then I immediately tabbed the next page.
perfect.
Um okay, I really liked that it picked up like right after.
Immediately
That was
after.
helpful.
There was no like awkward gap.
No.
Also, her just constant honey, it's just honey.
Pain, bro. Pain. Um we're talking about pain in here.
Yeah.
We're saying her. Okay, so it picked up like right when her and her and Kai come back from the poppy fields. R.I.P. And Kit is like, "You're not gonna be my betrothed," blah blah blah, and everything. And that's kind of where we're at. And he's like, "You're to be my bride and the future queen of Aaliyah,
Ilya.
Ilya." Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's what it is. And then then you have Kai, who's obviously man is in love, and
He is
he's just the
reeling.
enforcer. Yeah, but he's nowhere to be found.
Also, with Callum coming back, I for sure forgot who he was for a little bit. And the
Mm-hmm.
fact that he would even be there, like he and Lenny. I didn't forget Lenny
Okay,
necessarily.
in my head, I kind of forgot who Callum was, but him and Lenny kind of merged as one
Yes.
because I knew who Lenny was.
And so seeing his name back and that he was important, I was like, yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going to act like I knew him, which in the end also kind of works from the whole perspective of
It does.
everything. Like we weren't
Yes,
supposed to know he was
he
there
was.
beforehand.
Yes,
Even though he was there beforehand, we weren't supposed to remember it
I agree. I
in the
agree.
same capacity. So I don't know if it like worked to her advantage that we all I don't know if it was a universal forgetting who Callum was, but anyways, that's my
I think
one
it was
like
handy.
main thing from the start
Yeah.
is not main thing, but the proposal
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that she actually like put the ring on
Yeah.
and Callum
And they announced. Did they already announce she had to do the trials before?
before this point of view.
Yeah.
No,
Well, are they announced after?
wait, hold on.
It's confusing me too much to look at my book right now, so I need
No,
to like
the trials are
announce
announced
after.
after on page 90. So they say that or she agrees or the trials get proposed on page like 90, 91, and then she tells the people that she's doing the trials on page sorry
Oh no, you're fine.
page 97. So it's like the next chapter,
Okay.
but it's
All right.
technically after we get the newest
Okay.
point of view.
So who's the newest point of view? Tell the
King
listener.
Edric. Edric.
That's what I said.
Edric, however
I
we're
just
saying
imagined
it.
it was Cedric without the C.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay,
who
which is
Kit
Kit and
and
Kai's
Kai's
dad?
dad. Um,
Yeah,
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 we'll touch on
yeah.
everything later. Um,
Um,
and so this one,
and who's dead?
unalived
Peyton
at the end of Powerless.
killed him first book. That man is gone.
So this one kind of threw me off because again, I had to remember who Edric was for a second.
Oh.
I mean, I knew who he was, but in the moment when I was reading this,
Hmm.
I was like half distracted, and I just remember seeing his point of view, gasping and throwing the book.
Okay.
And I like how it starts with the fact that the little opening excerpt, it's page 81, and it was like, for every end there is always a beginning. The king would come to realize many years later and thousands of steps beyond the ones he currently takes that this was the start to his impending demise. And I kind of like, we knew obviously his demise is the fact that he dead,
Yeah.
but the fact that it leads up to this, and then we see that his demise, or what leads up to it, is the fact that he had a daughter born
Uh-huh.
2 years after Kit,
Mm-hmm.
and she was powerless,
With gray hair.
100% powerless. And she's the one who killed Queen Iris
Through childbirth.
through childbirth.
Through
But like,
childbirth.
because of her being born and the fact
Yeah.
she was born powerless, that automatically is like a,
Mhm.
oh no, so horrible thing.
Yeah. I appreciate, like, and I was like, oh, these are gonna be slow, like POVs. I don't want to really pay attention to,
Hmm.
but
But
it was
there's
actually like
so
so
much.
necessary. So I appreciated it.
Because
Okay.
that for sure got my mind reeling for the first time.
Okay, yeah, so hold on, let's go back for a moment. The Queen Iris and King Edric, they have Kit. And then like Hannah just said,
They have
the
the
queen
powerless
died because of a
daughter.
powerless daughter, so that, if you're catching on, is Peyton. So if you're
Yeah.
following along, Kit and Peyton,
Peyton, brother, sister,
brother, sister.
full brother, full sister. Not that half is any better, but like they brother, sister, like brothers, brother, sister.
Yes.
I don't. Sorry. Well, they're not, but they are.
We'll keep on continuing.
From
So
what we
that's what we
understand
know,
at this point,
and so we as the reader,
we're like,
they're
oh,
betrothed, but they're related. And Peyton at this point already knows that her dad Adam Gray is not her dad.
but she doesn't know who her
Anyone
dad
is.
is.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she knows no one.
Knows no one. She's lost everyone. She can't be with Kai.
She's lost
Forbidden.
everyone that she's ever said she loves, and that they've said they've loved her.
Yeah. So
With a dagger through their heart.
Okay. Trial
Anyways,
1.
trial 1.
What is trial? Why am I
Trial
saying
1 is where she has to go through the scorches to the
yes.
caves to get Queen Mabes
Yep.
crown,
Which is
the dead queen,
on the cover, in case anyone
and
was
it is buried
wondering.
with her in her tomb.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing is the scorches, is it's hot.
She had already just gone through
She
those
just
with
gone through and
Kai.
barely made it.
Barely made it.
There's the like.
So she's doing the trials to prove that she is the queen, that she
Yes,
can be the
so
queen
she's
of Ilya.
follow the 3 Bs that King Edric came up with, and that Kit's like, this will be, well, technically the citizens told the council, who told Callum, who told Kit, this is the way to prove it. And it's bravery, benevolence, and brutality. So
And
this is her
all the
bravery.
while this is happening, like, Kit and Peyton are going on like social outings as betrothed, but very just like still platonic. They don't know that they're brother or sister. On the other hand,
You have Kai and Peyton.
Kai is yearning. The man is begging.
The man is working more in the training grounds to avoid her.
Yeah.
Because it's all pretend.
It's all pretend.
All pretend.
They just had this whole like intimate moment. The poppy fields. Not to like, oh my gosh, I love, he didn't say love you.
No,
but
like,
you
he also cut her
hair. Which brings us to trial 1 as well.
The caves.
So Peyton is kind of like, she's just pretending right now with Kit, and she's just pretending with Kai. Okay, so now we're trial 1. She's in the caves.
And it's one of the first caves that she goes into, and she sees her dry, bloody hair, because this is only like a week, not even a week.
Not even.
After all of this has happened. And it's like all of her dead hair that she cut off to get like the feeling of blood off of her, just the feeling of the death.
Yeah.
that came with
And Kai
Reckless.
cuts her hair, and that's why I love that she's a female protagonist
Mhm.
with short hair.
And she intentionally keeps it jagged because, like, her
Yeah.
friend slash, like, handmaid
Ellie, yeah.
Ellie was like, "Oh,
Okay,
we can
I'm gonna
clean it
cut
up,"
it.
and she's like, "No," and she's like, "Oh, well, it makes you look fierce and like a queen how it is," and she's like, "Perfect."
Also, Ellie mentioned something about Adina. And you know, obviously that's Peyton's best friend who died. And we have Powerful, her little novella.
Mhm.
We hear about Mac. Sweet little
Lover boy.
lover boy. And Ellie said something like, "Oh yeah, that must have been Adina's boy." And Peyton's like, "Hold up now. What's going on, sister?
How
Like,
did you
I
know
didn't know
this?
that Adina I would know, you know?"
Mhm.
But it's because Peyton was obviously in the trial. So like now Peyton's like kind of you know that whole thing of like, I didn't know this about my best friend, she's dead now. Who is this
Mhm.
boy?
And she's like having to learn this whole the little
Yeah.
side.
So we have this whole symbolism with the hair, which is
Mhm.
just this like heartbreaking.
Mhm.
But I love her with the short hair.
I do too.
So yeah. And then in between this and the second trial, still just more pretending.
In between this and the second trial is when we get the ball.
Yes, we get the ball.
We get the ball. We get another Edric
Edric.
point of view. Or no, it is just the ball. We don't get Edric. No, we do get Edric. We do. We get Edric before the ball, technically. And
Yeah.
this is when, like, confirmation has come that the queen is dead. And this
And
is when we find out that she is, in fact, powerless.
because I literally my highlighting says, wait a dang minute, this means brothers? No. Like I literally read
Yeah.
that.
So that's technically when we find out that she's
Yeah.
powerless. And then on 176, that's when we see Peyton coming into the ball in the same silver dress that she wore the first time to, like,
Yeah.
reemphasize the silver savior point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Marina
Oh.
Azer. Sorry.
Oh no, you're right.
I was just reading it and saw it. And so then that's when the whole ball happens. And
Page 181. Kai's carrying her shoes.
and he's content to just walk around.
Yeah.
Page 193. He whispers the three-worded secret.
Oh
Another murmured
no.
declaration of devotion. He says he loves me again and again. The whole time, though, like, we never see the fact he said it because she's had too much champagne
Yeah.
and being carried to her room
Yeah.
because she can't walk.
Yeah, and he says this girl holds my heart in her hands and could crush it between her fingers and still have me thanking her for the touch. And I hold her shoes. So, and all this time, Kit is kind of like, oh, are those her
Okay.
shoes? Like, what's happening?
Like,
Like,
he's not
it's kind of giving Kit from Powerless, but less.
less in the sense of it's not like it's like he wants to be friends, but he also is, I think, realizing there's a line that Kai and Peyton have set,
Yeah, and he doesn't know.
and he doesn't know what the line is except the fact that that's his betrothed.
Yeah. And he's doing what's best for Ilya. Okay,
Then we hit
trial 2.
trial 2.
They have to go across the sea.
So that starts page 216 on chapter 26. Like, leading up to this, it is announced that Peyton has to go across the sea for benevolence.
Yep.
Go to the Queen of Isram and, like, basically trade these roses.
They're meant for healing.
Meant for healing.
And roses are on the cover of this book.
They're alive on one cover, dead on another cover.
Mind you, remember, Peyton can't swim.
Mm-mm. And so she's going across, what sea is it technically? Where's the map? Which also should have been clued in by the fact that there is a map at the start of the book. I don't remember there being a map, like, of the countries.
They're not. There's a different map. And all the other
that's
books
what I
is
thought.
different. This one's bigger because we're going more international.
Oh, ironic. Literally, the page before this is when Peyton shows Kit the O scar.
Yes,
Because he had seen it through a seer. But then this is when she's, like, actually showing the O that the former king carved over her heart, so she would always remember.
She's an ordinary.
Yeah.
Also, Kai's like, "In a way, she could go on this trial all by herself.
Yeah,
As the
so
enforcer, I should be there as part of this country's trading."
because she's the future queen, so we got to make sure she's safe. Like,
And we're like, "Yeah, of course,
and
you
Kit's
should
like, but you're
totally
also
go."
my enforcer. And
Okay.
so, anyways, so Kai ends up going, and then in the middle of all of this, we get another Edric point of view. I like how
Yeah.
we're also kind of just recapping the book at this point,
We are. It's very, I feel very, like, professional
but
here.
I
So
don't
normally we're
care.
like,
So this is when he's like, there is telling his silencer that there is in fact power in Peyton, but this powerless daughter. And then it's when we find out that the records are going to be sealed and the queen died
Yes.
giving birth to Kit, not Peyton. And so like Kit's carried this whole immense guilt with him because he's thought he's killed his mom this
Yes, because, like,
entire time.
nope, because also the queen hasn't been, like, out and about
And
because the king is so protective of his love for her.
yes.
So, like, people don't really know that she was pregnant anyways.
No. And so it's easy to conceal the fact she's been dead for 2 years. And Kit's like created this whole story, like in the other books of why, like, this is why his dad didn't love him the same as,
Yeah.
oh, well, I killed his wife. So obviously he doesn't love me.
Heartbreaking.
Mhm.
Heartbreaking. Okay, so Kai and Peyton at sea, kind of this whole, like, Peyton has all these childhood books that, who gave it to her? Callum?
Callum.
Callum?
Callum! With
Remember
the
him?
rose
With the rose.
drawn to Peyton.
Yeah, so just remember that. And Kai's like, "Oh, read me your childhood story." So these two are just kind of like,
Reading. He then like suggests a book that she should read, and
yeah.
then she's been reading them to her. And then we get to page 253.
253.
253. So Kai was drugged.
Yeah.
And like cast one of the illusionists cast an illusion that I always whenever I'm talking about that she has to be
I know.
Peyton.
I circle every single time he calls her Pay. It is.
Was asleep on the bed. And
Yeah.
then he counted her
'Cause they
freckles
just-
and was like, this is not my Peyton.
Which is like,
The fact that he counted her
don't like.
as a freckle girl, I'm just like, yes.
It's so sweet. And he knew it was not her because she didn't have the same amount of freckles. Like, mind you, but they're not anything.
No,
They're
but
just
they're not anything. They're just
pretend.
pretending. But like how you feel seen with the short hair thing,
Yeah.
the freckle thing, and the fact someone notices that much detail, I'm like, oh,
Wow.
I feel seen.
Yeah.
I have more than 26, 28,
28.
28 freckles, but still,
Still.
the
You're
thought
still
is,
seen.
the sentiment is
Yeah.
still there.
Um.
Yeah.
So he gets drugged.
And Peyton, in this case, gets kidnapped by members of the
The
crew, which the whole reason that Kai went is to protect her from the crew, because all these elites don't want an ordinary queen. So obviously, if she went by herself, she done did die, and she almost done did.
Yeah, because homegirl can't swim.
No. So you dangle her over a choppy body of water. What do you think will happen? So then we have the real dramatics, which I don't really feel like we need to talk about, of her almost, dying.
It's just that, like, Kai's like, I can feel the power growing weak of
And he
me
can't
trying to
hold
hold
on
on
to
to her, and then all of a sudden he's like, the power dies beneath my skin.
Yeah.
And then go to Peyton's POV, and she's like, the last thing I see is terror on his face. I'm falling again, and she's like, but all of a sudden Kai lunges to Adina's vest. Adina's vest. The green vest. All right, just keep in mind. And he's like, it's literally ripping at the seams, which part of me, I was like, no, don't rip, all that stuff. But then he saves her. So that's where we're at.
And we're good because
Yeah.
he saved her.
Yeah.
And so then, she girl bosses, slays. Or no, sorry. Then we get to Isram.
Yeah, Isram.
And that's where she trades the roses with the queen. The queen's like, if it was anyone else, like, your borders have been closed, but you, I see a queen in you, essentially.
And she only lets Peyton.
Only lets Peyton in. And then Kai
stay
sneaks
at
in.
the castle. Kai literally climbs up a tree.
and the queen catches him, and so they have a little chit chat.
And then Peyton doesn't know that the queen caught him because he left, and
No.
then the queen slightly is like, "Oh yeah, I had a chat with the enforcer," and she was like, "What's she talking about?"
And so then she and the queen had tea. They
Mhm.
traded
Had to.
they traded their roses,
Mhm.
and that was that. They got on the boat to head back,
Mhm.
where they face the
Oh
monster.
yeah, because the queen was like, "You didn't
You haven't
actually
actually survived.
survive because did you see this monster?" Which the monster was like, I was getting flashbacks to Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm here. I was like,
Mm.
"Wait a minute, what's happening?" Anyways, that's all.
See, I don't know what I was picturing. I know I
Mm.
was picturing
I was also thinking of Narnia Dawn Treader. It's for sure what I was picturing.
weird water horse vibes, where I feel like
Oh,
there's a
okay, yeah,
giant thing in that. Anyways,
yeah.
um, and then Silver Savior out here saving them.
She's just doing what she's doing.
She just casually. And in all of this, though, before the queen, all of that, we have another Edric point of view.
Surprise, surprise.
Anyways,
Which page is
where
that?
this is page 292,
292.
where his lovely little advisor, Oliver,
Good old Oliver.
comes in and he's like, I'm so sorry for your loss. Like, sorry to interrupt this. But,
Here's a girl with black hair and gray eyes, and I was like,
and a
gray
2-year-old,
eyes, gray eyes.
or sorry, a 1-year-old, his daughter, prime for marriage,
Not
who
the 2-year-old, the woman.
the woman, yeah,
Was
sorry, he was
prime
the
for.
baby was 1, the
Yeah.
child was 1, and who was passed over to the silencer. His bright black hair, gray
Gray
eyes.
eyes, super strong powers.
Mm-hmm.
Remind us
Strongest,
of
the
anyone?
the most extremely powerful. Like he's never seen anything like it.
Yeah. So
And her name is
Edric
Mila.
and
Mm-hmm.
Mila,
Get
they
married.
don't get married. And literally, I'm gonna read you what I wrote in the column. I said, "Kai's not her brother." Yes, this means she can't marry. She can marry Kai.
Yes.
Because the entire time I was like,
She
"What's?"
can't marry Kai because they're
I was like,
related.
she and Kai cannot be married. They cannot be related. This cannot be happening. I was like, I was thinking about going to bed. It bothered me, and I was like, "There's no way. There's no
The
way."
entire time I was trying to math before this about Kai, how old the distance between Kit and Kai was
Mhm.
of the 2 years, because then I'm like, wait, is my brain immediately was like, they're all related. Peyton's older than Kai? How did we
Okay,
not
I
pick up
thought
on
that too.
this?
But I was like, "Wait a minute, I thought there was this whole thing where she was younger."
Yes.
Um, and so right now, what we know, they all have.
The
Kai's not related to them
Kai
at
has
all.
zero relation.
Zero relation. Because at first I was, zero relation.
And then what we know for a fact that Kit and Peyton have the same
Same,
mom, and we
same mom.
assume same mom. That's right.
Same. Well, yeah, same mom
And we
and
assume the same
same
dad.
dad. Yeah. Yeah, because I was like, okay, we're in the clear. It's not Kai's not related in any manner, so that's good. Definitely good. But it also makes your heart break more because you're like, oh, Kai's legitimately was just used as a weapon.
Yep.
Not my poor little precious baby. All right.
And then we jump again to another Edric point of view, and this basically is showing how the brothers have become brothers.
Yeah. Also on page
What happened?
313, someone says something's happening. Jax, Kai, Kit, and Payne are all hanging out, and uh, Kit says, "It seems like you'll make a fine queen. It's as though you were born for this." So you're like,
Subtle
okay,
foreshadowing.
you're holding your sister's hand, but okay.
But we don't know. But
We don't know.
they
We don't
don't
know.
know. And
Yeah.
then so there's the Edric point of view. Not much. Not much.
No.
And then so then chapter 40, page 340.
340. Okay.
So the whole thing at the end of Powerless is Adina is killed by Blair.
Mhm.
And the whole thing of
Oh wait. Hold on. I just not go back, but 330, Kit and Kai are kind of talking. They're this is just important. They're in the arena practicing, and Kit says, Kit's like, "Oh, you've been here all night," and I'm sorry, I'm not trying, but this is important. And Kai says, "No." Kit says, "You've been here all night," and Kai's like, "You know me, brother. I'd always be here." And he goes, "I figured you were with Peyton," and I wrote, "Busted." And then
Literally, Peyton. Isn't that when she comes sneaking out once Kit leaves?
yes, and Kai's like, "I haven't seen her since the cellar," and Kit said, "I'm surprised," and he goes, "And why would that surprise you?" And he goes, "You know why?" And Kit's like, Kai's enlighten me, and then Kit's like, "Because you love her, perhaps more than anything." And now we're all somewhere like, "What? What?" And then Kai's POV, my heart pounds, reminder that each beat belongs to her. And Kai's like, "Of course not. She's your bride. As your heart literally is beating for her." But you know,
It's okay. It's
um,
fine.
and so that's happening. Blah blah blah. So yeah, that's just Kit's acknowledge it to Kai.
Mm-hmm.
Pain. Okay.
All right.
Oh, and also throughout all of this, I'm sorry, Kai and Peyton are exchanging notes with each other.
Yes.
Flirty little cutie notes. They're just
Just
there.
pretend things.
They're just like so wholesome, passing little notes. Okay, yes, sorry.
And then you get okay. The only reason I feel like this is important is that it feels like pivotal for Peyton is the whole Adina thing killed by Blair, and the whole thing of Fearless is Lenny's been guarding Blair because so Peyton doesn't kill her.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have 40, where Peyton goes for Blair outside her room.
I'm sorry, I just went to Edric's POV. I'm keep on interrupting you. This is horrible. It's just before that. It just talks about the princes being inseparable. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, continue. You already covered that. I know. I'm so distracted.
And I don't know where I was going. Oh,
Hannah's being super organized right now, and I'm like going through all the emotions, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this."
That's why I prepared myself. I was like, "What if I has to say?"
I prepared myself, but I did not do it to the extent you did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was like, this is unemotional preparation over here,
and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, guys! By the way,
I'm saving my emotions for the end."
Oh, smart.
Anyways. And so basically a fire catches, and
do you see that? Fire is catching. We burn, you burn with us. Anyways.
And then like Peyton is like burning it It's not funny.
No, it's not funny. But she's
literally feels her skin melting.
But like, we have to go back to Blair later.
Okay.
Like later. So anyways, what we know, Peyton is burning Blair.
Yeah. Wait, why do we have to go back to Blair?
Oh no, we'll go back to Blair at the end, the very end. And Lenny's like,
wait, it's like the epilogue?
The end, yeah.
Stop! I didn't catch that.
Oh no, we're gonna go back.
Okay.
We're gonna go back, okay?
You sounded so about. Oh no, we're gonna go back.
We're gonna go back. Don't worry, because I have theories. Okay. Lenny's like, Peyton, stop. Blah,
but
blah.
not also stopping her.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then you get to 41, and the immediate is Kai going, "Where is she?"
We love a man. It's
and then he's like,
giving, "Where is my wife?
Take me to her. I order." And then he's like, "No need to worry." I almost laughed. I woke to an imperial beside my bed and smoke in the air. So I'll ask again, where is she? I don't know, where is she? Oh. Opening it, Lenny gestures me inside, where I'm greeted by several gazes, but it's only hers I search for. Her being Peyton, obviously. Anyways, so that happens, and that's just like another.
And of course, Kai's like, "Oh, you should have prevented this," like to Lenny, you know.
Wait, is it in this? And then it's the whole like, I did it. Oh my gosh! And then she's like, "It didn't bring her back. I'll never get her back." And he's like, "I know, love."
Yes.
And then he can feel Kit coming. And
wait, but before that, he goes, "I leave because she's not mine to worry about." And I'm like, "No, babe, go back. She is yours to worry about."
Oh. And then like he's hiding. Oh, so then this is like happening in the room.
Life would be so much easier if I didn't want to spend it with her.
Oh my god. Also, wasn't it back when
Do
she
you like my hello?
Hello! Okay, wait, I thought it was I feel like this needs to get mentioned because, like, Peyton
Oh,
killing people is such a big thing back at the caves
yes.
when she killed the 3 dudes,
Yeah.
thieves, whatever they're called, and she was freaking out about it to Kai, and
Mhm.
he's like, "Don't worry, like,
Like, I'll bury them.
I'll bury them. Their blood is on my hands. Like, no more
Yeah.
blood is on your hands. Like,
Yeah.
I'm your
Like,
enforcer, so
yeah.
everything you do is on me now."
Yeah, and that was before, like, she was even
Queen, like,
betrothed.
this is like 100%
He's
all
like,
her, and he's
"I'm
like,
in love with you."
"It's on me. Even if you done did the deed,
Deed,
it's on
me.
me." And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. And so which goes with Lauren Roberts' 3 Truths and One Lie, where she was like, "Kai's gonna marry another person for Peyton."
it does.
Multiple.
Okay, wait, what was
Mm.
the actual lie? Is it what we all wanted the lie to be? Because technically, it unofficially we'll get there. Hold on.
We'll get there. We'll get there. No
So then
worries.
we get to the 4th trial. So Peyton was like locked in Kai's closet when Kit got there, and she heard that the 4th trial was happening
But
tomorrow
of
as a
course,
complete
like
surprise.
Kit and Kai, hold on, go through this thing where it's like, I trust you with my life. I've never doubts about you, and they're like, you and me, brother, you and me, like
Yeah,
constantly like
it's
reaffirming each
them.
other, which
And
we love.
yes, we
Sorry, I
love,
don't know why I feel like I have to explain
and
that.
it's the fact that I don't know. I feel like Kit is the one who keeps emphasizing it. Like, it's you and me, trust each other, you
Yes.
and us, you and me, it's us.
Hmm.
So then Peyton wakes up. She already knows she's going to the 3rd trial.
Oh yeah, so this I literally read this and I told Hannah I'm done. I'm not reading it anymore. And Hannah goes, "No, you have to finish. You have to
Is this
continue reading
chapter?
this."
This is only 42.
No, but I legitimately when we got to this point when you're about to talk about, it, I
Oh,
was
well,
like,
we
"I'm
will get to
done."
the end of chapter 42 before
Yeah,
43. Okay,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I had to set up. Ugh, we've been going. This is going to be a long episode. I can
it
already feel
is.
it. I mean, it's already. Okay, so, sorry, I'm just now reading pieces. So she's walking back into the bowl for the trial,
Mm-hmm.
the 3rd trial. And I don't know. I just read it. It was the first time I walked between this row of drooping trees. It was for survival. The second, a promise, and now a title. I don't know why. And the pink blossoms that once fell from these trees are
Mm-hmm.
long dead.
Yes, I was like, okay.
Sorry. And so she's going. She once risked it for a piece. Like, it just.
And all this just kind of like, where's Kai?
Where is Kai?
Where's
Because
Kai?
she gets into the bowl and
And Kit's like,
kid like welcome final trial,
brutality is often
all
needed.
these things, and then he's
It will
like,
be
as a ruler, brutality is
is
often
often
so. This
needed.
will be a fight
Fight
to the
to the
death.
death.
And she's like, to the death, because
Death.
think about it. Death is a big thing. She doesn't want to have to kill another person.
Yeah.
And then
She's like,
she
I
looks.
turned slowly towards the glass box, finding a king peering back at me. Not my friend, not my betrothed, just a king who ordered me to be his killer. And suddenly I know how Kai must feel.
My knees go weak at the thought.
Kai.
Frantically, I scan that glass box for any sign of his familiar figure. A lock of tousled black hair, a glimpse of those damn dimples, a flash of that cocky smile.
And she's, bring out the opponent. My whole body numbs at the king's words. Gasp ripples through the crowd, shock slipping between my fingers that press to get gaping mouths. I won't turn around. I can't turn around.
The crowd erupts with a sickening wave of excitement when the king's voice booms over the arena. An ordinary versus every elite. The ultimate test.
My head is shaking. I shut my eyes, squeezing out the cruel world beyond. This is a nightmare. This is pretend.
Footsteps behind me grow louder atop the shifting sand. I press a hand to my pounding heart, feeling the rapid rise and fall of my chest. This is pretend. This is
Hayden. I can feel the exact moment my heart shatters. It's when I turn, my eyes crashing to one's well memories. Oh gosh. When mist meets the deepest sea, when a shadow faces its flame,
when inevitability meets its end. When
when I stare into
the
the face
face
of
of
what
what it
I
is I
is
love
I love
most.
most. Thank you. I hope you appreciate that dramatic reading. The mist meets the deep sea. Gosh, wow. Lauren Roberts, the woman you are.
Yeah. So she's gonna have to fight Kai to the
She
death.
says, he's a fool for me. He is my fool. Anyways, okay, so I legitimately was like, I'm done.
This
I'm
is a
done.
man who would bury another for me. would bury himself if only I asked. Sorry. So that happens, and they fight, and we don't really need to talk about the fight. I don't feel like.
Well, Kai's just kind of like, this is pretend.
Yeah,
This
he's
is
like, this is
pretend.
pretend. Well, Peyton's thinking it's pretend. She's like, he literally said he would never lay a hand on me,
Yeah.
and they're out here fighting, and he's like dominating,
I mean, yeah.
and she's like about to get buried alive.
Mhm.
Then we hit chapter 44, Kai's point of view. Literally 2 sentences. Fight back, Pay.
Okay.
I need you to fight back. Okay, cool. That's
Cool,
great.
that's good to know. Page 371, she says, Adina died here, I want to die here too. And then he stills, tears gathering in his eyes.
The
She goes,
enforcer
through the chest,
breaks.
remember? That is how I want to die, just like the ones I loved.
And then that's when we reach our little turning point, and he's
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry. You're the enforcer. I manage weekly. An ordinary was never going to win this. He shakes his head at me, but you are not quite ordinary, are you? Then, with a steadying breath, he orders, now follow my lead. And then they go, and he's like coaching her through the fight.
Mhm.
Not like he is. And like later on, he's like, come on, Peyton. He murmurs, don't give up yet.
He's like, good, now hit me cross. Right, like he's giving her tips.
Then we get to page 374. Kai crashes into the sand as I fumble for the dagger. I'm throwing the leg over him, straddling his body like I have so many times before. Weapon in
Okay,
hand,
girl.
I loom over him, my victory a plunging blade away. Instead, I watch those gray eyes widen when I push the dagger's hilt into his palm. My fingers wrap around his, wanting to hold them one last time. The blade is aimed at my chest, inches from my pounding heart. It's okay. I'm ready. I've been ready my whole life.
And he says, what if I was to save you today? The dagger turns, his hand guiding its tip towards his own chest. Maybe that will help make up for every time I haven't been able to save another.
No, I choke out. The blades point dangerously close to his chest, even as I uselessly fight against his strength. No, stop it. Skip.
Yeah, we're just not gonna.
And then we fast forward. We
A lot
flip.
of screaming, a lot of
We flip a
crying.
couple of pages. Chapter 46. Kai's point of view. I am grief. I am sorrow. I am anguish alike. We skip another page to the end of technically chapter 47 on page 382. My knees hit the floor. I held the dagger as it sunk into his chest. She holds me as I cry. I know what it feels like to kill him. So that happened.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I want to know. Oh no, we're still not there yet.
No. I won't be reading what I wrote because it's not appropriate.
So that's when I was like, Elizabeth, you have to keep going. Again, I was like, you have to actually keep going because I had read past this point.
And she's like, I don't feel anything.
I didn't feel anything either, girl.
Yeah.
And then we get to page 386. 386.
386.
She can't do this anymore because she's like been locked in her room since all this happened.
Yeah.
And then, but Kai stands before me so strong and stunning, I can almost hear his voice, the sound distantly ringing from the depths of my mind.
Where is she?
It's so familiar, so real.
Where the hell is she?
I straighten at that growing voice, scared of my own deceiving mind. It's not real. He's gone. Heavy footsteps echo beyond the wooden door I'm slumped against. I shake my head angrily, tears spilling down my face. He's gone, just like everyone else. I killed him.
Move aside or I'll make you.
My voice, my hollow, broken heart stutters at that command. It can't be true. I can't let myself believe this. And yet, I scramble to my feet, palms pressed to the door that separate from me from hope. I mutter, Kai? The muffled shout that returns has me laughing through a disbelieving sob.
Hey.
I shove away from the door. Okay.
I love how mean you were. I'm just gonna let me say Kai's line.
As it falls to the floor with a thud, the door flies from its hinges. As it falls to the door with a thud, there is nothing left to separate me from the ghost behind, not even death himself.
Our gazes meet. Smoke meeting fire, life meeting the walking dead.
Alive. He's alive. Alive. He's alive. Kai's alive, guys, in case you were wondering.
He's freaking alive.
He literally just died and now he's alive. I wonder how that could be. And so we fast forward. I feel like we got it like
Yeah.
we got to start grazing over things,
We
which
do.
feels so
I'm
wrong.
so sorry
We-
because we have a lot to cover.
yeah, we're 2/3 of the way through the book.
Yeah. Okay. So
So
he's like, I was drugged the night before.
he was like walked away basically in a cell-ish thing by the
Yeah.
bowl. He woke up to hearing Pay's screams.
Yeah.
He heard Peyton scream that woke him up. He went running to the bowl. So his chapters is when he is watching what is happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a whole bonus chapter at the end of the Barnes & Noble Special Edition of chapter 43 from his
Yes.
point of view, and I haven't gone to read it yet
and
because I don't
then-
want that damage. But
Oh, okay. Actually, it's you'll be okay.
okay.
Kai also like you see him say "I love you" in this chapter. I just want to throw that out there because it's a little bit important. And then Kit's like, I see you found each other. So Kit is now explaining, oh no, we just had another elite.
Another elite who's like one of the elites that's supposed to be like not alive because there can only be one Kai.
Yeah.
And who's the elite that, if we remember,
Who
that
could this
has this
be?
same power that might want, like the king might have wanted to kill, so he couldn't challenge Kai.
And who might want revenge on
Hayden, because perhaps his Dina died because of
we
their
just skipped
relationship.
the whole thing. Hayden went back to loot.
We forget. Hayden went back to loot.
Y'all,
Oh
we're
my
so
gosh!
sorry.
I
Hayden
knew we
went
were
back to
forgetting
loot.
something.
She did. She went back to loot.
After she
And-
found out Adina had a man, a
Yeah.
guy.
A little friend. And she goes to the fort and she's like, it's not the way I left it. And all of a sudden there's this man there. Hair pulled back, silver strip in his hair. And she's like, are you he's like, are you Dina's friend? And then they give each other kind of this whole thing where he's kind of like hesitant, and then she's like, I'm so sorry, and they like have this kind of like he hugs her and like they're like crying, and Matt calls Adina Dina,
and it's her A,
hey,
his
and
D.
so she's like, she's the Dina to my, that whole thing. I'm sure you can catch on. So anyways, that's kind of important for what we're about to say.
So
Continue, Hannah.
they met each other in loot. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now let's think. Because we just said it. Who might
Who could
have
that
these
be?
powers? A dude named Mac
Hmm.
came to the king,
Mhm.
whatever, and was basically like, I want revenge against Peyton because she's the reason Adina's dead.
Because and Mac doesn't know Peyton, so he doesn't
No,
know.
he just knows what Adina has said about her, and
Yeah.
then obviously the fact that
And obviously Adina doesn't say trash talk her best friend, but he
No.
just knows that like, oh, this girl's responsible.
yes, she's responsible for this death, and I loved her, but I don't know Peyton because of Adina, like
Yeah.
type of loves where he's
Yeah.
I'm okay with it essentially.
Yeah.
And so then an illusionist casts on Mac to make him look like Kai, and because
And
he has
obviously he has the exact same
the
powers. Sorry,
exact
about that.
powers.
Yeah.
And so he is basically just there dying in the cell when Peyton realizes like that's A's Mac
Mhm.
with her dagger in
In
him.
his heart. And heartbreak.
Yeah.
So at this point I was kind of like, Kit, what's happening?
No, Kit the entire time is like coughing up blood,
Yeah.
going a little mad, like
Avoiding
he
eye
has
contact.
normal sane moments. Like when he's with Kai, it's like they're like
He's
Peyton even
okay.
says like it's their old selves.
Mhm.
He's off on his own. He's weird. He's having hushed conversations with Callum.
Little sketch.
Little sketch.
Okay, so now we're at the wedding day. Also, mind you,
Hold on.
Peyton chose roses for the wedding. Just gonna throw that out there.
Hold on. I'm making sure we didn't skip stuff before we get there. No, it's the wedding day.
So roses are chosen.
And the wedding day is fine.
Fine.
So before the wedding day, so there's been lots of moments. If you know the significance of the willow tree,
Mm-hmm.
the willow tree has had lots of significant moments.
It's where Kit and Kai's little sister is buried.
Yes. And so it's like where Kai essentially said, like, I'm not going to see you at your wedding.
No, and
Peyton.
also, but they're always like a life within the willow tree. Like, I'll meet you
Yeah.
under the willow tree. That's kind of like they're like,
That's
we
that's
can be
their
safe
place.
here.
That's their spot. And
Yeah.
so up until this, like, the night before, he was basically like, I'll see you after the wedding, my queen.
Mhm.
And she was like, and then he was like, as your enforcer, I finish weekly. And then with one last regretful look, she parts the curtain of leaves and steps into her future without me. So, like, that's the last, like, glimpse of Kai and Peyton we get.
Mhm. And this whole time, like, Peyton's getting ready for the wedding, like,
She's
she's
feeling it,
just
but she's not, and she's also missing Adina.
she's yeah, she's just missing all those people. We kinda get to a Kai POV then, in the middle of it, where right?
Oh, yeah, sorry, the wedding happens. So the wedding happens, and the wedding happens the first ceremony, and the castle happens like normal.
Yeah.
And or I mean, as normal as everything. She gets the fancy crown. Kit comes to her before the wedding, and he doesn't like see her because they're like
Oh my gosh,
it's
there's so
bad
much
luck.
sorry, I was about to, like, skip over a whole
And
chunk.
he leaves his mother, aka Queen Iris, aka also Peyton's mother's
Mhm.
jewelry box, and he's like, since she can't be here, like I'd love for you to wear a piece, so it feels like
He's
she's still part of the day. Peyton doesn't pick out a piece at this time.
mm-mm.
She doesn't. She's in a rush. Callum comes to quickly collect her because Callum is walking her down the aisle because he knew her dad as part of the resistance and like they became real buddy buddy, and so he became like a father figure. Okay,
There we are.
ceremony happens at the castle like normal.
Freaking married. You get a Kai POV where he's like, "I need to find her."
He his mom made him promise that like because his mom's still alive. It was basically like don't let Peyton come between you and Kit. Don't let her be your weakness.
Mhm.
And he's like, but she is my
It's my
weakness.
weakness. So, yeah. So, like, Kai's like, "I have to go find her."
And her coming between them would be Kit
And
marrying
yeah.
her instead of Kai.
Mhm.
Um,
And Peyton's kinda like, "I know he said he wasn't gonna be here, but, like, where is he?"
so that happens. Sorry, I'm just reading things now. Then after that ceremony, they go and to change into because they're going to the
Loot.
slums
Yeah.
to loot and to have another ceremony. So like they can kind of see their queen too because she came from the slums. And Peyton is opening the jewelry box, page 456, Elizabeth,
456.
and
Wow,
to
okay.
pick out a piece of
Oh,
jewelry.
I just wanna add on the wedding, sorry.
Sorry, go.
To the wedding when, it says that Payne kissed to steal the I said, "Ew, this is so gross, this isn't allowed."
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on. I know I'm distracting all of this.
And then they go. She goes to pick out a piece of jewelry. She's like, if I didn't wear it to that wedding, at least I can wear it to this wedding. Again, not realizing it's her mom. She opens the jewelry box.
Roses.
No jewelry, no gems, only the brittle head of a rose.
You don't say.
And then there's a
Folded
folded
pieces
piece of
of
parchment
parchment.
that says, meet me in the garden at midnight. Wear a cloak. You are too beautiful to be seen with me. My heart is yours always. Oh,
So the queen had a
the
lover.
queen had yeah, she was having a secret affair. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, affairs are secret.
Yeah.
And then
There's a picture of the
Callum.
queen.
There's a picture of the queen. Um, I've never looked into the face of a ghost, but I imagine this is what it would feel like.
Mhm.
Her bright blue eyes are nearly as vibrant as the smile she wears. There's a certain warmth in her gaze and the rosiness of her cheeks. Light blonde hair cascades over her shoulders, falling in loose waves, and her nose. I take a shuddering breath before lifting the photograph in front of me. Her nose is dusted with freckles. I stare at the queen. She stares up at one. Blood claims blood.
Okay. So she's kinda like, "Oh, I'm the queen," like
That like this is my mom.
yeah, so that's what we all think, and then all of a sudden we're like, um, Callum is there, and he has roses because it's her bouquet that she left. Um,
And then she's remembering where he was talking about how there was a private rose garden on the grounds
mhm,
that it had been there for decades. And he had conveniently also been there for decades.
yeah.
And he was a resistance leader, a fatal, always in the right place at the right time. Like the dude, what like he can read minds.
Okay, so I feel like we need to like move faster, but
I
like,
know, but I also don't want to move fast.
yeah. So recap. Let me just do this, unless you want me
Go
to.
for it.
We don't go by the book. Callum, Queen's lover. Callum and Queen Iris had a baby, but the king thinks the baby is his. Turns out, newsflash, baby is Peyton. So Peyton is only
mind you, though,
related to Kit by the mother.
but mind you, also the fact that she's powerless, like
Mhm.
Callum apparently is a duet, so
Yeah.
what she thinks is he has two different things
Yeah.
that he could read minds and also control them, and then the former queen like could help control emotions.
Yeah.
So like it's super powerful thing. So for her to be
Yeah.
powerless is just as mind blowing to Callum as it is to the king because he's
Yeah.
like, how did we create someone so
So
ordinary?
ordinary. And so Callum is kind of like he sends her off to Adam Gray because he was the healer, the resistance, and so that's where we're at now. Peyton is having this realization. She's not really having this realization that her and Kit are siblings though yet. No, not
No.
until where is that? She's just like, I need to tell Kit. Oh, because she knocks Callum out because they're fighting. She realizes like this is her dad.
Then we have an Edric point of view. He sees Peyton in the castle, and when
Just
she
like
comes for the
flashback to
trials, and
Powerless. Yeah.
immediately recognizes her. Um, Kai rushes to the wedding. He doesn't get there in enough time
Yeah.
because beasts don't get the beauty. Anyways, um, Peyton's rushing to find Kit, trying to tell him everything about Callum. And then Kit's the one who puts two and two together that they are half siblings.
She says, "We have siblings." I blink at my husband, then down at the ring on my finger. The thought that somehow never crossed my mind until this very moment. Now I feel as though I may be sick.
Um,
Same girl, same.
yeah. So then Callum comes racing out, and Kit takes his sword, his like nice little
Mhm.
decorative sword, as Callum is like coming towards him, and um, he's like fighting with Callum to get out of his head, and then like he stabs Callum, um, and Callum dies.
Mhm.
And then Kit starts freaking out. Like, did he say anything about him, about his father? Kai comes running out, basically, like, what happens? And then puts two and two together that Kit killed Callum, not Peyton killing Callum,
Mhm.
which is somehow like an easier thing for Kai to live with. Anyways, then they're still headed to loot, though, or to the slums, whatever.
And Kai's like, "You're related. Like, you can't possibly go through with this."
And they're like, we literally have no other choice. Like, until we can figure something out, we
Yeah.
need to keep peace. And so they go through with it.
Yeah.
And then
Okay, so they're at loot. Oh, they call her Peyton Azur. What? How do you say the last name? Azur? And I was like, that's not the way I want it to be. Anyways, moving on.
And then they get back to the castle, and um, Kit and Peyton like are in their rooms. Peyton's on the balcony. Kai comes to get her, and they're
Yeah.
going to her mother's room. So Queen
Yeah.
Iris.
Um,
Sorry, we're trying to go now.
I
I feel like we're
know.
rushing this end.
I feel like I can't look at the book, like, it's distracting me.
So they go and they pick up Kai along the way, and so they're in there and
Kit along the
Kit
way.
along the way, and they're in the kitchen getting him whatever, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to check this place out."
Yeah.
Or to go to the room and see if like with the records being sealed, all these things.
Mhm.
Kai is now doing the math and realizing that with Peyton being born, like they're all putting these things together. That Kit's not the one who killed the queen. Kai was born in between all of this.
Mhm. Kai's having his own identity crisis. Like, oh, the king's not my dad. This makes sense why he never loved me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then basically all these things happen. They go into the room. We have Edric's point of views. They don't really count right now. I mean, I'm sure they do, but
They go see the queen. See Kai's mom,
mhm,
and she's like, "I'm sorry." Blah blah. We get an Edric point of view, like you said.
mhm.
Continue. Sorry.
Then um Kit and Kai go, or Kit, Peyton, and Kai, like Kai and Peyton go to talk to Kit. And Kit basically starts unveiling his plan because he's like, Kai, I guess you should know this now. And then Peyton stays because she's married.
And this is where I don't really like it.
Um, because um So Kit basically the whole plot in all of this is the King Edric was trying to recreate the plague, to wipe out all the ordinaries, recreate elites because they thought their whole bloodline was
Mhm.
dying. Kit decides to take over what his dad was doing.
Because he thinks it will make him great, make
It'll
him
make him
proud.
the greater king. It'll finally make his dad proud of him. He's also feeling this whole time. We're thinking he might be jealous of Peyton
Hayden,
because, or jealous of
jealous of
Kai
Kai.
because Peyton loves him.
Yeah.
In
We're thinking
hindsight, like,
his goal is Peyton.
yes, in
Yeah.
hindsight, or in reality, his goal is Kai because he feels like because Peyton is there, he is losing his brother, and
Mhm.
he will only ever choose Peyton. Like in every moment, like even in this chap, whenever this chapter is, like Kai goes to stand between them, and he stands in front of Peyton
Yeah.
to like protect her from Kai or Kit.
And so Kit's kind of getting a little bit like delirious, not delirious, but like, okay, what's happening?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
And then basically, Kit's unveiling this plan how the roses
Mhm.
that were sent to the roses that were sent
To Israel.
to Isram,
Israel.
however you say it, were laced with the plague.
Poisonous.
Like they were the first round of all of this.
Yes.
And we later find out that the queen knew, and like they never opened the box, so the plague never got out.
Yeah, we'll find that out later.
But are just gonna cut the highlights, and
Okay.
so the plague never gets out. And then though the
And
brothers,
Kit's also like Peyton now has a claim to the throne,
mm-hmm.
but technically she
But technically she doesn't, but
doesn't.
he thinks she does because he was also worried that he was illegitimate and like wouldn't have a claim
Yes.
to the throne,
Yeah.
and she would. And because they're recreating this whole plague, he's working with healers and like scientists and taking doses of the plague himself. And so that's why he's been coughing up blood and been going crazy. Is one, someone's been probably maybe in his mind, we don't really know, but then the plague has been making him go insane.
Yeah.
And
So
so
now
then he goes to attack Peyton.
and Kai
Kai
has a firebreaker.
and is trying to just treat it as a spar.
Yeah.
Like they're just
Yeah.
going back and forth, nothing major. And Kit was supposed to dodge, and he didn't.
Yes, we're okay. I know it's short on time.
I don't care. Kit was supposed to dodge.
Because like Peyton's like Peyton's like
And
all of a sudden
Peyton's
they're
like
having
backed up
like this
against the
like
wall.
yeah, and she's like they're like, oh brother, good job. It's like kind of this like twofold thing of like, oh they're back to who they are. The boys just playing together, and now it's like Kit was supposed to dodge.
Kit was supposed to dodge, and he didn't. And there were no healers around anywhere near for Kai, and so that happened. Um,
And Peyton goes to find a healer,
and Kit gives Kai his
yeah,
wedding ring.
and Kit's like all I ever wanted to be. He was like, you were somewhere. He was like, I was never able to decide who you loved more. And Kai's like, I can love more than one person. And Kit's like, but I can't. You're the only person, and I was losing her to you. Um, and he was like, I just wanted to be great. I didn't want to be a monster.
He's like, you were never a monster.
And Kit then says, bury me.
So he won't be alone. Bury him on the golden tree.
I like legitimately have tears. Like, cannot do this.
So then Kai goes out. I'm just skipping. I don't care what the order is. They find a whole bunch of letters that Kit's written. We read the letters.
Okay, but as he's dying, Kit says, love each other for me.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so that's the permission. And now I'm just gonna go quickly through because we're not gonna have emotions for the next little bit. This is where this is the balance. They find a
but
whole
we
bunch
have
of
an
letters.
Edric POV. I'm sorry. And he goes, because that is the truth of it. Kit has never learned how to love, and yet somehow he stumbled into it with his brother. But everything else, every hopeless attempt for his father's favor is born of obsession. That alone is what the king has taught him. Anyways, just that's kind of painful.
And then yeah, we see Kit obsessing in his letters of how he's going kind of insane, kind of like targeting Peyton because she killed his dad and taking her brother from him and taking his brother from him. And then all this happens, and then it's also like, Kai, you're my enforcer, but like you're my brother, I don't want to lose you. And then we cut to like Peyton basically trying to help Kai through the grief of like having just killed his brother, but then also having to like deal with the death of his brother. And so
And
then
realizing that like he's not actually his brother.
even though he's not his brother, but it's his brother, and because that's whole Kai's thing or Kit's thing or Kai's thing is like the closest thing you have to a relative right now is Peyton. So stop taking like you and I are not brothers. Like that happened before.
And you have
Anyways,
pages of letters.
yeah, pages of letters. It was kind of giving selection for like the one
Honestly.
for a little bit. Anyways, and then we see Kai out under the willow tree digging a grave, and he's like, Kit would always make these things so much more lighthearted, and so then he's finally like pick up a shovel, and so Peyton helps him dig Kit's grave.
And he goes, I'm not a king until Kit is laid to rest.
Because people are trying to like have him make decisions, and he's not the king yet. He technically isn't supposed to ever be the. I guess his mom marries the king, so it counts, but still.
And Kai's determined not to make Kit look bad to the kingdom.
No,
So people don't know about Kit. Like they know that he died, but they don't
know what happened.
They don't know what happened.
And they will. Kings are. The servants are used to keeping secrets.
Mhm.
And so then we get to. They get married under the willow tree, an
I'm
intimate
gonna be
ceremony.
honest, her wedding
Kai and
dress I
Peyton.
didn't think was that cute.
I want to go back and read it.
I understood like it had Adina's vest on top and like half of it.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
just
no.
it was given a little bit too cheesy.
Yeah.
But it was sweet.
She carried a bouquet. Elizabeth, you're up. You have rein in the emotions.
Okay, yeah. Okay, where is this?
This is your moment.
What page?
Oh, sorry.
No, it's on me. It's on me.
Oh, page 575, 576, 577.
Okay, she's like, it's from Kai's POV. She has red poppies bleeding into pink roses, while the deep blue of dainty forget-me-nots weave between them.
Which
is all the colors.
forget-me-nots are powerless.
Yeah. Poppies are reckless,
and roses
are fearless.
So they get married, and he makes her a flower crown. And they dance
under the willow tree. And it's raining.
It's raining.
And it's perfect. Like literally, I would love to get married under a willow tree while it's raining.
I hold Peyton against me, my wife, my eye in the storm.
And every time she calls him by his name, like Malachi, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Until whatever the hell.
Pulled a stem of forget-me-nots for him. And then we get 5 years later. And they're out being benevolent or whatever we're going to call it. Exploring other countries as king and queen.
They describe Kai with like stubble and like.
And then they're talking about how they love each other. And then all of a sudden it's.
Just the highlights on the page.
And then they glance over a field of corn waving beside us, and you still feel her, right? Kai's lip twitch in a smile. She's on her way back. Then he raises his voice toward the sea of corn. Did you find it? A small body tumbles from the maze of crop to scurry toward us. That shock of gray hair blown around her face, obscuring the excitement displayed there. With the large ear of corn gripping between tiny fingers, she runs into her father's awaiting arms. They have a daughter?
So Kai's a dad, as if he couldn't get it any better. And then he's like,
daughter,
and he's like counting her freckles.
And Kit, honey, stay close. Kit.
Kit with one T.
Kit with one T, but still
Kit.
Still Kit. And they have a daughter.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, they're just walking, and Peyton says, until a flash of lilac has my gaze flicking to a shadow corner of the street. I stare into the face of a ghost. She stares back. I can still feel her soft skin beneath my palm, feel the heat of that raging fire I forced her into. But I feel nothing, I do nothing. We stare at each other for several beats of the clamoring of my clamoring heart. In another lifetime she's my enemy. Here she's a stranger. I do not wish to avenge Adina any longer. I wish for her to rest.
It's Blair. Sorry.
Yeah, so with a slight nod of my head, I let Blair go. So at first I read this, I was like, oh, it's a hallucination, but it's not.
Mm-mm.
It's not at all.
And then
she said, my husband stands on my side.
And then he says, "Not so vicious little thing," he murmurs endearingly. Of course the wielder knew she was here.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
And then the end, it's like, this life is sweet, like honey. So then our epilogue, I don't really want to talk about the epilogue.
We don't have to talk about the epilogue.
The epilogue gives you it gives you resolution. I'll just say that.
I kind of wonder, real quick, the epilogue, the female voice. I've had multiple different thoughts on who it could be.
Yeah, I would love to know your
Do you
thoughts.
think it's their A? Because
who's their A?
Kit and Kai's A?
Okay,
because it's a voice that he doesn't really. It's a female voice that he doesn't recognize necessarily, and it's been years.
At first, I thought it was Adina, and then I was like, well, at first I thought it was his mom. Then I was like, no, it's a voice he doesn't recognize. So I was like, but he's also young. So I was like, oh, is it Adina?
It could. We thought we would keep you company. It could be his mom and his A.
Yeah, because initially I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was Kit and I thought it was Adina and Mac, but I don't think it is.
I don't think it. I think it could be his mom and Adina, or not his mom and Ava.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyways,
and he's like, I'm just a little bit scared. So in the end of this, like, Kit had redemption.
Kit
like,
was redeemed.
I never hated Kit. I just didn't want Kit with Peyton.
No, I never wanted Kit with Peyton,
Kit
but I love
with Peyton.
Kit has been my little baby since Powerless. I don't know why.
He's precious. And then also, like, Lauren Roberts was like, oh, let me annotate, like, chapter 7 for you and, like, tell me my thoughts behind this. I was like, that's painful. I'm not reading that.
I need to read that. I told you I've not touched those. I'm scared.
Yeah. So anyways, Powerless. Fearless was, like, everything. Like, it wrapped it up so well.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it was great. And there's technically a novella
of characters we've already seen.
I'm curious.
Me
I wonder if we'll
too.
get more. I wonder if it's going to be a flashback of what happened with Edric, Iris, and Callum.
Yeah. I also have a feeling I saw something with Lenny, and I was like, okay, that would be interesting. Exploring more of the
he
world.
Has a weird little thing with Blair, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
They had a little thing.
For sure.
So, anyways, thanks for listening to our long processing of Fearless.
Yeah. I feel like the end was rushed, but also, like, the book, the end is rushed.
No, it really is. Because
you need yeah. It's Peyton and Kai have a kid.
He'll be a little kid. And she has powers.
She has powers.
But we don't know what her powers are.
No, we don't.
Maybe that's a novella.
I know. See, Kai more as a dad.
No complaints. It's giving selection. Because we see Maxon as a dad.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And on that note,
we hope you enjoyed this. And if you listen to all of this,
thank you.
You are a committed fan, and we will send you merch. I'm just kidding.
No, we won't. But we greatly appreciate you. Mm-hmm. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, me and Hannah will be the next book. A Great Big Beautiful World will already have come out by the time this episode comes out. So me and Hannah will also be in Emotional Damage.
Yeah, because
I just feel like I need to address that.
No, I feel like I'll either be reading it or I'll be done with it and be blacking it out. Oh yeah, because next, that's gonna be fun.
You know, I thought about that. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Anyways, all right, guys.
Send us more prayers.
Lots of prayers. All right, bye.